So, welcome back. I don't know what you guys do on your break. Ay, alam nyo, iniisip ko nga, pag sinabi ko, let's take a break, ano kaya ang ginawa nyo? Did you walk away for 5 minutes? Or is this already 10 days later? Okay lang yon. I really don't mind. Di ba? Basta nakikinig kayo. Actually, kung pinakinggan nyo lang yung first part, okay na yun sa akin. But don't tell UST. But anyway, thanks, guys. Um, Thanks for being back from the break. If it was worth it, okay? So, what's the cost of these lives of consumption and wealth accumulation? Okay. Well, the first cost is poverty. Okay. The cost of this unbridled consumption has been really high. Firstly, it caused massive inequality in the world. Yung first world, third world divide, old terms na pala yun. Ngayon, global north, global south, di ba? Or, I don't know what's the better term, developing world and the developed world. Pero ayaw ko yung developing at developed kasi parang yung developing, ibig sabihin, natuklasan na nila yung pinakasukdulan ng pagpapakatao, tayo hinahabol natin sila as if they really discovered the right way to do things, right? Excuse me. But anyway, but this first world north-south divide, the rich and poor divide, was caused because people whose systems of value drove them to consumption. Okay, this whole divide was caused because there was this Western civilization. I'm sorry, guys, if it sounds so anti-Western. I mean, if you look at the facts, right? There's this Western civilization that really founded itself on consumption as its way of its path to well-being, and then it drove them to increase these systems of production, consumption, and wealth creation, which made them impose their own systems on the rest of the world, right? Like on India and China and Japan. Now, those cultures are very different, diba? Pero in a sense, in a real way, they took over those nations. And then they said, okay, now you exist for us. Diba? They went to Africa and went to different parts of Africa and conquered the different tribes there. And then they created these fake nations. And then they said, okay, now you, Zimbabwe, are going to be owned by, well, I don't know who owned Zimbabwe. The French ba? Okay, anyway, are going to be owned by us. And now you exist to serve our needs, diba? And even when we let you become independent, quote unquote independent, your whole system is so tied up to us that you exist to serve our needs, right? So basically, in order to serve this system of consumption and wealth accumulation, the whole world had to be reduced to um, to one big production and market system where even those who had no concern or no desire or no interest in the whole consumption business because their whole cultures weren't naman built on consumption Think about it. A lot, like kunwari Filipinos naman, okay, Filipinos us in cities, okay, we're very westernized, we're very into consumption. Give me something to consume, diba? Otherwise, my life is going to be dull, ganon. But like many Filipinos who haven't fully been westernized are not really consumption based. You can see that a lot of them are very family oriented, their values are very community building, they're standing in community. And then for us, it's like, oh my God, they're so backward. Ganyan, diba? Pero it just shows you that not everyone found their well-being in this whole consumption system. But the consumption system was imposed on everyone. And because of that, it really deprived people and communities and civilizations of their own capacities to create a good life according to their conception of what a good life is and based on their understanding of how to use their resources and how to produce and how to live and how to be. So the so-called developed world consumption can only be really sustained by the exploitation of the resources of the so-called developing world. And beyond that, the involvement of its people in their systems of mass consumption. What I mean is, first, they involved us in their whole system of consumption and production kasi they needed our resources. Okay? Secondly, they involved us because they needed us to be markets. Kasi if without us as markets, where will they produce wealth? How will they produce wealth? Without extracting our resources, how will they produce wealth? Okay? So only when the developed the people of the developing world were involved in this consumption and production system, did they find themselves to have become poor? Kasi alam nyo, marami talagang civilizations before Western impositions. Okay, sure, they lived, they did not have long lifespans. They probably had sicknesses that the West could cure, that they didn't know how to cure. Actually, they had naman their own systems of health and well-being. But that's my point. They had their own systems of health and well-being and production and consumption. And they didn't need the West to change things for them because they were very capable persons in those worlds, in those times, in the way they were. But when the West imposed its systems of civilization and its systems of production and consumption and even their trade, the people of the world really suffered for that. They really did. Because first of all, their own knowledge, their local knowledge, their wisdom, their genius, it was all nullified because they created their own systems of production and knowledge, and they had their own civilizations. Where the West said, no, you can't continue that because it doesn't serve our civilization and our systems and our markets. So they had to do away with that. So everyone became a worker. And then when everyone became a worker, they underpaid the workers. And then they used up all the resources of these workers in their own world. You understand what's going on here? It's so not fair. And that's what happened in the Philippines. That's why there's so many poor people in the Philippines, diba? Because they involved us in this whole mass production and mass consumption system. And in this system, we all become people who just serve their needs. Okay? And that's why we've become poor. Kaya, in the end, your only way talaga to prosperity in our country, in our world, is if you can find a way to join them. 'Di ba? Kung maging kung maging executive ka sa isang bangko or maging finance person ka or maging doctor ka or maging lawyer ka, 'di ba? Or maging executive ka or maging nurse, 'di ba? You have to join their system. Otherwise, if you stay in your system and be a happy communal farmer in Ifugao, halimbawa, you won't flourish. Okay. Okay, we can take a break here for a bit.